And hello everyone, welcome back to the world of Viridia. This is our long-term Minecraft world where we are building kind of a civilization of our own and trying to make it a super futuristic, fully automated civilization, or at least as close as possible. And today, should be no surprise to anyone that we are going to be in the Nether, working on our gold farm. That's right. It's something we've been working on for several streams now, building the structure first and now filling it with the actual redstone mechanics to sort through everything and actually process all of the materials into all of the materials that they could become. We ran into a bit of a snag with that last stream, and I have worked out a solution, a potential solution anyway, that we'll be testing in this stream, and hopefully, with any luck, it will work as intended. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. We're going to keep going with putting together the processing systems and hopefully get a decent chunk of the way done with that tonight, so that when we come back next week, we can start working on putting in the bartering systems and all the processing stuff that goes along with those. And it is even more extensive than the gold portion, so yeah, look forward to that. But yeah, let's hop out of third person here, and I'll show you what we've been up to. Basically, just gathering redstone. I didn't have as much time to work on that as I had hoped this week, but we did get to do some of it, and it's sunsetting. Somehow we always start when the sun is setting. I don't know how. Yeah, but we've been selling iron over at the Iron Giant to the toolsmith that's over there, gathering emeralds up, which are downstairs right now because we don't need them in the Nether, and of course going upstairs and buying redstone from the two clerics that are up there. So that is where all of that redstone has come from, and yes, good, we're ready for that. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump back downstairs. Downstairs, I say, back down into the Nether, and get to work on this gold farm. Another thing that happened while we were working on collecting resources, my wandering villager llamas disappeared again. And I just want to like put this out there into the world, and just in case a developer is listening. So wandering traders come through. I'm trying to collect all 4 colors of the wandering trader llamas, you know, to keep permanently. So I use shears to cut the leads. I pick up the leads because, you know, that's a great way to get extra leads. And I tame the llamas, and the first time I didn't put carpets on them. So I thought, you know, maybe if I put carpets on them, that'll say like, hey, these have been interacted with the player. They belong to them, not the wandering trader anymore. So all of the trader llamas that were in the pen over here had carpets on them and were tamed. They were tamed at different times. They all disappeared at the same time. So to me, that doesn't sound like they were killed by mobs, because I haven't had long nights where that would have happened. They survived the night when Rusty was killed. So I know that's like the last long night that we've had, and yeah, and then they all just sort of disappeared at the same time. So I don't know if it's a glitch with loading between the overworld and the Nether, or if it's like a loading up the game initially kind of glitch, or what it is, but yeah, they disappeared again. So I managed to capture a couple more. They're in the pen now. They have been tamed, they have carpets on them, and this time I name tagged them because I really want to keep these llamas, so hopefully that'll do it. So if this part gets shared with a developer or something, that would be great, because I would love to keep my trader llamas. And I guess if that's not possible, it's not possible. Like, I'd love to have a wandering trader permanently in my village, but I know that just is not a thing that can happen. So I don't know, maybe they patched it so it's not possible anymore. I know it used to be. If you have information on that, let me know. And hopefully this gets seen by a developer at some point and fixed up. But let's head down to the Nether. Don't see any skeletons, which is great. That last one gave us a bit of a mystery in one of the previous streams. If you weren't here for the last stream, we did these, which, as you can see, there's enough room for elevators come up in the nook, which is really cool. And some of the mechanics spill out. That's okay though. Yeah, it looks a little bit crazy and industrial, which, I mean, this farm is kind of industrial, so it makes sense. Eventually we'll cover it in like vines and stuff too, so it has a little bit more of a solar punky feel, I guess. Yeah, in the Nether it's really hard to capture the solar punk aesthetic. So here is our rotten flesh filter and our gold nugget filter, and you can see that they go into these lines here, which have been covered so nothing extra falls in, and go into their respective elevators, which we're going to be changing today, because the problem we identified is that these elevator workings block access to the spot where the next elevator would go. And so our fix has us adjusting a couple things to change that. And I think that's probably where we're going to start, is reorganize these two elevators that we already have set up so that we can start working on setting up another one. This time we'll go from here into the elevator, and that'll be for gold ingots, pushing them up into their storage, and obviously having a drop down to lock that line so the elevator stops sending stuff up when the silo is full, and then the ingots can move on to the next part in their process, which is another autocrafter. So it all kind of leads on to the next thing, but let's go ahead and grab what we need. So yeah, let's get started. All right, up we go, avoiding the eggs as we go. Let's see. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay, that was dumb. Wow, that was dumb. Oh, if you missed what just happened there, I swung my sword while I was in the hitbox of the vines I was climbing, and that broke the vines. Because, you know, it would. Vines do not like swords hitting them. Well, let's grab some bone meal so we can fix that. Okay, vines fixed. And this is our rotten flesh disposal system. So if we get backed up, then it just starts being destroyed automatically. And now brown wool can go here, which it's going to need to do. We need to remove this, and we're going to put wool block right there. Okay, let's just remove the parts that need to be removed. This for sure is not going to be here, and this for sure is not going to be here. And take that out also. We'll go get that in a second. These are gonna move. And we can get rid of this, and this, and remove these. Those are my for sure changes, as well as this. I don't need this, and I shouldn't need this, and I won't need that to be there. This all can fill in there. This is what I'm worried about interacting with, but I think I have the space to accomplish this. Instead, going to go here, which, as you might imagine, going to push into a wool block, and that wool block going to have a torch on it. We're going to put hoppers here. And we do need to do a quick test here. Well, not much point in finishing that, is there? Because the other comparator would go right here and push into this, but if this is locking this, that's sort of the end of that. I thought maybe if we dotted this, it would change it, but this block is still powered, and that's blocking the hopper. So now we need a different solution. Okay, yeah. I was thinking maybe moving this over here, but if it's locking this hopper, it would lock this hopper, so that doesn't work either. And anything where I like slide this over and extend this dust line doesn't work, because you still have a block here that's powered by this torch blocking this hopper. Moving any of this is not really going to help us. The thing that I could potentially do, hopper here, and put the other one here. That'll allow this to be locked, but this one not, based on that torch, which is kind of what we were hoping for. And if that torch were not there, item does go back and forth. Good. So let's put the torch back. Now the trick is pushing a signal into this block with a comparator. I want to say maybe we can do by putting this here. So we could get rid of this. We could put block here. We would do comparator here. And then if we did dust there, I mean, technically it sort of works, but then it kind of doesn't because we need more than a one strength signal to actually... I get the impression this is not going to work, so I'm just gonna send an item through and see what happens. Yeah, that ended up there. Did the item I sent actually move? It did actually move. And did it go where I was trying to send it? If everything worked correctly. It would be right here. And it's not. So, yeah, that system definitely does not work correctly. Because the idea is we need the next elevator to go here, and it needs a hopper input right here. I can't really go over this way any further. So my original plan for the modification was to have the hoppers here, comparator here, and then this block would have stayed over here. And with that set up, everything works as intended. But yeah, with this being right here, it's locking the hopper. Okay, so now my thought process is put it the way that I intended, and we move this system one block out away from this. Don't like it because it's a lot of rebuilding. I don't see much other way to accomplish this. I'm gonna take this. It's gonna go back over here, so I need to remove this. And we'll need to take this. We need to remove this and this. So we'll go here, and we'll take this back out. And then we cut this out, and comparator goes here. Let's go downstairs, grab the stuff we dropped, remove that extra block, and then let's look at how to modify the off switch system so that this new elevator setup will work. Alright, so I just need to move this either this way or this way potentially. Well, no, if this is powered, it can't be next to these hoppers. That just simply won't work. Okay, so this is basically the new elevator system. Slightly rearranged. But yeah, this needs to be moved over. And I might be able to do that without moving the whole thing. Although moving the whole thing is probably the right thing to do. Because like this one could be here. No, I think moving the whole thing makes the most sense. So let's take a look at the very top. We need to bring a stair down to fix this. And see if that's even possible. I think it is. Let's see why it wouldn't be. So this is our turn it off thing. Yeah, we could actually make this less complicated too. Get rid of this and this. Move all of this one block this way. And then leave this here with a redstone dust. And it actually fixes the problem of it locking the whole thing after each item, because it's going to need at least a signal strength of 2 in order to lock it. So this won't get all the way full, and that's fine. And this will have to push a little bit further to actually power the block and shut off the thing. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. So, and simpler is definitely the better way to go. Yeah, let's rebuild the whole thing. Oh, I hate it. Okay, let's get rid of this. The turn off system for the Rotten Flesh elevator has been moved. Elevator has been reconfigured such that it will push an item all the way up, allegedly. Let's test it with a slab here. I guess let's go see if it's where it's supposed to be now. Aha! It works. Alright, so now we have to do the same fix to the actual gold nugget one. So we could start by moving this part out, or we could start by fixing the elevator. And I think it makes the most sense to do this part first, so let's do that. This is technically in the wrong state. This torch should be off, unless our storage is somehow full of gold nuggets, which it should not be. So yeah, we're gonna have to go back down the line from the top and see where we missed something. Very likely we missed a redstone dust somewhere along the line, and we'll need to correct that. Oh, at least it's an easy fix. That should change the states all the way down, and if it did, then that part is good to go. Huzzah! There we go. And now we need to rearrange this elevator. Elevators are reconfigured, so now we have space to run a hopper line in here, believe it or not, and push it into an elevator that will go right here and will replicate this system. The reason we're going to do that is because we need a place to store our gold ingots once they are made, because we want those to be readily available as well, not just gold nuggets. And this system is already set up. The nuggets that don't get pulled into the line that goes to their storage system will get pushed into this auto crafter every time that this hits 9 build spaces. It will automatically craft, which will make a gold ingot and push it into this hopper, which would go this way if there weren't anything pulling down. So instead it will go here. This line is going to be the one pushing into our new elevator, which will send ingots up, and then we'll have another lock the hopper line system that drops down to fix all that, and yeah, gonna be good. So let's go ahead and do that. What? What? Okay, I mean, it has to be some of the new stuff we're putting in, right? This one needs a slab. This one needs a slab. And we need to do the same thing on the brown. That one for sure needs a slab. Am I missing a torch on the gold one? I am missing a torch. Or do I have an extra torch on the rotten flesh? I have an extra torch on the rotten flesh one. I do not need this torch. That should fix that. we now have the storage system in place for our gold ingots, and we need to put in our shutoff signal. So let's work on that one now. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we now have a storage system for our gold ingots. Once the nuggets get crafted into ingots, they get put into the storage system until it's full. Then this will lock these. It'll build up into here to the point where this is filled up, and then it'll start flowing past this into the next stuff. So this crafter can be here and set up the way it is, because once the gold nuggets are stored, there's no other destination for them. Like, they're not going to go to a disposal system ever. They're always just going to get crafted into ingots, and then if we have too many ingots, I don't think it's ever going to happen, but if it ever does, then we'll destroy ingots, potentially. Like I say, I don't think it's ever going to happen. But yeah, the ingots are going to get used for multiple things, so we need a line that goes over several of the crafters so that as one of the storages fills up, it can lock that crafter and then move to the next part, like to the next crafter. Yeah, once the ingots are no longer going to their storage, they're going to flow down this way. They'll get scooped up by this hopper, which will push them into the crafter, and we'll have this set up behind it. And that will craft what it crafts. In this case, I think it's the light-weighted pressure plates would be the first thing we're going to craft. Then, instead of locking the line that goes to thing, we'll basically carry this signal down to push it into here. But not this signal, the signal over here. And it'll run down at least one away from this, and it'll lock this. Okay, and then this is gonna have a comparator and a composter and a comparator before we have the next crafter, like here. So I should have room to run the locking signal down this way so that I can lock this, right? Because if you have a crafter here, you're gonna have a hopper line. I mean, technically, the next thing would be here. I might go ahead and line up the crafter right here. I kind of think that makes more sense, so that I'm just doing straight lines instead of like winding them around like we did the first couple. Now the first couple makes sense because we're filtering the items, so those need to be there. But yeah, if we can just do straight lines to the elevators, why wouldn't we do that? All right, so this would go here, the hopper going in here. So this wouldn't actually be here. It would come from here. And then that would go right along here, go into this, and then the next one would be right here. Alright, so we know that this be here, basically. And so instead of having this side torch here, we could put the side torch here and have it shoot a signal down that powers a block that's right here. And yes, it will lock this hopper, but if this hopper's locked, then it doesn't matter if this one's locked, because nothing's going to be going into the crafter while this one's locked. So nothing would be coming out of the crafter to go through this one. Okay, I think that's the system. So this will push directly into a hopper line. It'll come down and like swoop to the side. And that hopper line is going to be in the floor, same as this one. So it's literally going to be the same height. That's great. I didn't know if we'd be able to pull that off, but it looks like we're going to be able to pull that off. And so this time, instead of using the priorities, we're just going to lock this hopper so that things can flow over it into the next crafting system, which would be right over here. And then the other crafters right here, and they can share a composter that way too. Cool. I think we have a plan. Ooh, got some ghasts in stereo there. All right, so we need wool here. And we're gonna do wool here. And wool here, +1 on the bottom. That'll go there. Right now we can just place the dust. That'll help make this spawn proof. And that will allow us to remove this block. And put in a comparator. This is going to be in subtraction mode. Need to remove these. We need this here. Yes, into here. And we did not bring down our composters. We'll have to grab them, but one will go right here. And it'll get shared with the crafter that's right here. So that'll be great. Like I said, this will be for light-weighted pressure plates, so basically we'll turn all of those on. And this is why we need the composter, so this signal is as low as it's supposed to be. That's basically the redstone bits for that. Let's get the composter set where it needs to be. Right here. Let's get it to level 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. That's right where we need that to be. And now you can see this is not as strong a signal anymore, which means this is not on. I think every time this crafts, it's going to lock this hopper, but it's a very brief just pulse, like, and like on off, so I think that's going to be fine. Shouldn't really be a problem. So this is actually set up, believe it or not. We just need 2 more hoppers to have that actually done. Alright, congratulations. That system is now connected, which is awesome. Once the ingots fill up their storage and start getting skipped over, they will go down this line and start getting pulled into this crafter. And once it has the 2 ingots it needs to craft its recipe, this will fire, it'll craft it, and we'll push it into hoppers that run along here and go into another elevator right here, which is now the thing that we need to make since the crafting system is actually done. So let's do that. I need 38 more droppers. I think that will lock this hopper. We're going to test that. Definitely pushing signal. Definitely locks that. Okay, perfect. I do need to make another hopper and make sure this is not locked also. It shouldn't be, but we're going to do a test just in case. All right, and I put something in here. Oh, it's going to go into... Okay. Yeah, if this is locked, then nothing is going to... It's not going to pull it down either. Beautiful. So it doesn't lock this, but it does lock this. That's great. Okay, so that's all good and dandy. Now we need to put this dust back, so that's not on, and do our hopper line to the elevator. Next time, but we got the elevator in place to store, like, the whole system in place for the storage of gold ingots, and the whole system in place for the storage of light-weighted pressure plates. We've kind of done a crazy amount of work to only have 4 items coming out of this farm, but if you think about it, technically there's only supposed to be 2 items coming out of the farm, so getting more out of it than that is already an improvement on what was before. So yeah, very, very cool thing. We started off in the overworld, grabbed some materials and whatnot, and came down to the nether. We started off by working on the system to handle the storage, the movement and storage of gold ingots, up to the movement to the 2nd floor and storage on the 1st and 2nd floor of gold ingots. Once those build up to a surplus level where they no longer need to be stored, the system automatically shuts off the storage side of it and allows gold ingots to flow into the next auto crafter, which is for light-weighted pressure plates, and it then crafts those until that silo system is full up to the brink, at which point it deactivates that system, locks it down, and allows the gold ingots to flow on down to the next craftable item, which is, if I remember correctly, going to be gold boots, which don't use a lot of typically, but it'll be cool to have them available in case we want them or need them. After that, it'll basically work the same way as the light-weighted pressure plate, except we'll be rounding a corner, and then it'll be gold helmets, which we do use a fair amount of, and it'll be nice to have replacements just in case, already made and ready to go. Then gold leggings and gold chest plates, and then gold blocks. Once all of that is done, and this is, you know, far beyond this episode, or probably like the next couple, because that all is going to take a minute to set up. After all that, the gold ingots will then flow into a bartering system. So they'll get turned into a host of other materials, and those will get processed into other things, if they can be. Some are just going to get stored. Some are going to get processed. So yeah, very cool things coming up. Still lots of work to do on this particular project. Even once all the redstone's done, we've got to get villagers down here to trade with all of the different items that we can get from this farm, clerics and some other villagers for some of the bartered stuff. And it's a whole project. I might even have to make small subsidiary buildings around this one to do some of the processing, because I don't think, believe it or not, I don't think this building is big enough to process all the stuff that we need to process in it. So I might need sub buildings to process some of the materials and get them routed around the farm in order to get them up to the top levels here. So kind of crazy to think about, but yeah, this is going to be it's already been a massive undertaking, but an even more massive undertaking than maybe we had even thought. So yeah, we had great progress tonight, and the loop is stable, so we are going to let it run. Thank you guys for hanging out and watching, and make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things to support the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next cycle. Have a good night, guys.